Good morning, fellows, ladies in this case. How are you today? Welcome to a new session. On a previous, in this case, lesson, we were studying lexical contents and also grammar contents related to, in this case, let me check out politics in general, vocabulary about politics. Also, we were discussing about reflexive pronouns in this case, and stuff about short stories. I should say that I got all your papers in this case, all of them. I'm gonna start the process of correcting your papers, and I hope to have, the short stories in this case graded by the next week. All right, by the end of next week, and we should, in this case, review quickly about unit number 1, the meta-linguistic contents, and then start unit number 2. Unit number 2 is, in this case, related to society and media, right? We're going to start for and against essays, newspapers and television, in this case, of lexical contents and imperatives, okay? But before starting unit number 2, we need to review the stuff here. For you to know, also, I've uploaded some stuff here on the files section. I uploaded, in this case, a capsule on September 24th, which was last week, I guess, yeah, and on last Friday. And I got all the contents covered, like the meta-linguistic contents are all covered on this capsule, but we're gonna double check today quickly. So in relation to the lexical contents, we were talking about politics, of course, last week, and today we're going to be checking about bureaucracy, and this is the last lexical content of pertaining to unit 1. So what is bureaucracy in this case? I would like one of you guys to help me with the reading, if you don't mind. And Miss, in this case, Nayareth, are you there, Nayareth? Can you hear me? Invocating Nayareth. Yes. Can you help me with the reading? Can you read, please? This case, the section which says bureaucracy refers. Is that possible? Thank you, Nayareth.
¿Se escucha?
Thank you, Nayareth. Se escucha.
Ya. El primer párrafo, ¿verdad?
Yes.
Ya. Bureaucracy refers to the official rules and procedures used by officials, bureaucrats, to control an organization. For many people, it is a negative word, as it often means unnecessary rules, long waits, and lots of documents and forms.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Nagar. Excellent. So I suppose that many of us in this case have dealt with bureaucracy before, like pretty much the bureaucracy in the system, you know. And although we understand that there is a procedure for every, in this case, let's say Iran paperwork, and so on. Sometimes there is excessive, you know, in this case, excessive paperwork, excessive long waits, and stuff like that. So that's a problem. You know, we know that technology, in this case, within the years or in time, has helped to, in this case, like to simplify, has helped to, in this case, has helped organizations and people to simplify, to easy, or to ease, in this case, the burden of bureaucracy, right? But still, there's a lot of bureaucracy, especially today with, for example, with the migration issue, which is really hot today. There are a lot of different obstacles for human beings to move from one territory to another, right? And that's part of the bureaucracy of the systems, you know. Anyway, regarding documents in this case, we already know some of them, you know, which are part of the, in this case, the ID, you know, processing in this case. Like, for example, passports, driving license, visas, certificates, etc., etc. That's part of the bureaucratic system, right? I know that they are necessary sometimes, but as I told you, you know, if governments and nations around the world, they invested money on simplifying, in this case, the paperwork, like using QR codes, I don't know, this online certification, or in this case, online checking in, etc., etc., which is, I mean, we got that system, we got that technology today, but still there are some procedures which are really, really hard, okay, really bureaucratic. But at the same time, I believe that people in general, human beings in general, should not have so many restrictions in order to reach a certain level of comfort, you know, certain level of happiness, okay? Because it's really hard for families, especially when they need to eat and they need some basic meet some basic needs, and then and they live in a constant emergency, and then you ask them for papers. I think there are many situations like crisis, like COVID crisis, or political crisis, or humanitarian crisis in some countries, and then the neighbors are asking them for papers. I think it's something that you can regulate later, but it's not something that you should ask like first meet. Again, especially when they are like running away from poverty and from other extreme situations. But that's my personal opinion. I'd like to know, or hear, or maybe you can type your opinion in the chat room. The question is it necessary for immigrants? Like, this is only one example, because, you know, bureaucracy is a very broad topic, but in this case, related with immigrants, is it necessary, if immigrants are escaping and running away from death, from hunger, from poverty, from war? Is it necessary for them or for governments to ask papers like when they are running away? Or do you think that governments can regulate that thing later? And what is your opinion about that? Anybody? You can type your opinion in the chat room if you don't want to speak. Or maybe you don't have any opinion. That's okay. Francisca, it is unfair. You're not thinking of papers when your life is in danger. I agree. I agree. Camila, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's for me, it's like ridiculous when you see families crossing a river, crossing a desert, like swimming in the open sea, and then you get to some place and then you are asking for papers. It's like, you know what? I just escaped from death and you're asking me for papers, for a visa, for a passport. It's like ridiculous. So we can talk about papers later. I mean, that's my point of view, right? And I agree with you, Francisca. For me, in this case, there is a basic human right, which is the right to move from one country to another, from one territory to another. Like, I don't know, 20,000 years ago, nomads, they just moved from one territory from one continent to another. You know, like people, in this case, migrated freely around the world and nobody was asking for papers because we didn't have this kind of system, right? This kind of civilization. But today, frontiers, borders, political borders and stuff like that, that make a little more difficult the in this case the migration process, right? um so forms in this case, if it is not a visa, people have to fill in things. I think that immigrants can, in this case I agree. If immigrants have to fill in forms or enroll, for example, for some program, I agree. Okay, because we need to have some records. But this is something that you do when you are accepted in a certain country, right? After entering the country, you fill in forms and stuff like that. Like they cannot in this case, or they shouldn't reject the option to be registered, right? In that way, the government can keep track of your actions in the country, and also they can assign help, support, money, subsidies, or in case you become a criminal, you should, in this case, respond for your in this case indiscretions. What else? Okay, landing card, that's one form, which is formulario. Enrollment form, yeah, to study or to when you do a course, go to school or college. Registration form, which is on web pages, for example, etc., etc. Companies, application form in this case, yeah, details of yourself when you apply for a job. With almost all forms, you will need to sign them. Yeah, write your signature in this case. There you go. That's pretty normal. That's different. in every organization, maybe you should fill in forms like digital forms or physical forms. Formal language in this forms in this case, for example, date of birth, country of origin, marital status, date of arrival, date of departure. Yeah, that's normal in forms, right? Formularios. Finally, bureaucratic problems. We often associate bureaucracy with problems. For example, you may have to queue or make lines, in this case, como las filas, wait in a line to get an official piece of paper or have it stamped. Yeah, that's typical. But today, you know, with the COVID crisis, we pretty much queue or waiting in lines every day. All the time, we are waiting in a line, even to buy bread sometimes, to go to the supermarket, etc., etc. So this process of checking people in every entrance has, of course, made procedures to enter, for example, a mall or to enter any place. In this case, that has made it way, in this case, slow. But as far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, it is necessary because of the COVID crisis, right? Okay. Any other comment or question about the concept of bureaucracy? No comments about this? Okay. So now let's move on to the next topic, which is, in this case, todo good, dice la Francisca. Excellent, very well. In this case, reciprocal pronouns, comparative for equivalence, movement prepositions, zero, definite articles, and collective nouns. So let's start with reciprocal pronouns in this case. We were dealing with reflexive pronouns the last week, and we said that reflexive pronouns had also, you know, like a version which is called, or a use, which is called the intensive pronoun, which is pretty much the same. Intensive pronouns are used to, in this case, give emphasis to a sentence, like, for example, of course, I myself would never do that. That's in the intensive use of the reflexive pronoun. Or the reflexive pronoun, in this case, as a way to, let's say, I'm gonna show you an example. Sarah works out and keeps herself fit, in this case. Yeah, a way to talk about yourself, in this case, to refer to the same subject, in this case. And reciprocal pronouns are different from, in this case, reflexive pronouns. They are each other and one another. We use reciprocal pronouns when the subject and object are the same people, right? But you're referring to the two-way relationship. For example, for two people, we use each other, right? For three or more people, we use one another. Now, many times you're going to see each other and one another used as synonyms, as interchangeable terms, okay? But it depends, I think. It depends. You know, to establish the difference, it's important to understand that most of the time, in this case, each other is for two people and one another is for three or more people, right? Tom and Sarah work with each other in this case, right? Or they love each other. You know, when you're talking about two people, they love each other, they hate each other, they help each other, etc., etc. Two people in this case. With a group of people which is bigger, working groups, you know, working groups or work in a group, well, working teams, help one another. All right, ayúdense. Los unos a los otros. That's the idea. When my family had dinner, we told one another about our jobs in this case. But normally, sometimes families are big, so maybe there are 10 people, 8 people at the table. So they told one another about their jobs. Any questions about reciprocal pronouns in this case? So you can check out the capsule for more information in this case. And also I uploaded on UCampus on the enlaces section. I uploaded exercises here, reciprocal pronouns. I see that some people clicked on this. That's good. That's the idea. So if you want to do exercises regarding reciprocal pronouns, just click on this one and visit, and then you got a lot of different exercises regarding reciprocal pronouns. Okay, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay, then next topic in this case. Next topic. It's passive voice. Hold on, let me double check that thing. No, ya habíamos visto passive voice. Ahora viene comparatives or equivalence. Sí. Comparatives. Aquí está. Right. Comparatives of equality in this case, or for equivalence, are the following structures: as plus adjective plus as. Right. That's one formula or structure. And the next is not so or not as plus adjective plus as. For example, he is as tall as me, right? That's pretty much the first formula. Next formula, he isn't so tall as me, or he isn't as tall as me. Now, some people question, or some people say that saying he isn't so tall as me because they insist that every time that thing should be he isn't as tall as me, but so tall as me for British people is like not okay. But in the United States, you're gonna hear a lot of people saying he isn't so tall as he said, for example, or he isn't so tall as people think. Okay, so normally there is negative and positive connotation. And when you say, for example, he isn't so, come on, si no es tan bacán. He isn't so cool as people think, you know. So in that case, it's pretty much like denying an idea, right? But this is that in that case, it's pretty much like pejorative. But if you say he isn't as, for example, he isn't as wealthy as he says. He isn't as wealthy as he says. In this case, is pretty much like also it's a little softer, you know. It's a little more polite using as than so. All right. What else? Hold on. Okay, let's continue. It says this is pretty much the same compared to things. All right. We use this in this case structures to compare to things which are the same in a positive degree. The blue ball is as big as a red ball. And also we can compare to things which are not the same in or with a negative degree. The green ball is not as big as the blue ball. The green ball is not so big as the blue ball, right? You can use both, but you need to remember the slight difference between saying not as and not so. Also, we got the use of so and such. All right. We use so in this way: so plus adjective, so plus adverb, so plus judgmental adjective, and that's it. All right. And we use such with, in this case, adjectives and nouns, such plus judgmental nouns, and such plus nouns, in this case, one noun. But also we can use such plus plural nouns, okay? Examples: Tom seems so happy. So in this case, we intensify the use or magnify the use of the adjective happy. In this case, we increase the quality of in this case, happy. So plus adverb, in this case, we intensify or magnify the adverb, in this case, which is related to the verb speaking. Teacher was speaking so loudly, like really, really loudly. So plus judgmental adjective, in this case, you're so stupid. Well, this is not nice anyway. You're so smart. You're so beautiful. That's nicer. So in this case, we intensify the adjective again, right? It's pretty much like the first case, all right? But this is, in this case, is judgmental. So normally we can see adjectives a little more, in this case, offensive sometimes, or qualifying. In the case of such, in this case, he's such an intelligent boy. So we use such with singular noun, in this case, and an adjective. You know, adjectives in this case are always singular in English, always singular, the adjectives. Different from Spanish, because in Spanish we say inteligentes, guapas, guapos. So we add s, right? But not in English. Never, ever say adjectives in plural. Impossible. That's not happening in English. So what we do is to put the plural, in this case, or the plurality, with the noun. Like he's such an intelligent boy, or you can say they are such intelligent boys. They are such intelligent boys. Yep. Hold on. Okay, let's continue. What else? Such plus judgmental noun, in this case. Don't be such a fool. Yeah, again, judgment. And in this case, it's such plus, in this case, one noun. A plus or N plus one noun. Okay, not an adjective, a noun. And finally, what do you say? Such a thing. This is such plus noun again, right? Which is similar to the previous case, okay? But this one is judgmental and this is not judgmental in this case. Exceptions in this case, exceptions to the rule. We use much, many, few, little before nouns. And we can use so with these nouns, okay? They have so many children. In this case, there's a mistake here, porque children ya es plural, no se pone ese nunca. Así que punto menos para esta página. Dice plural cannibal or uncannibal in this case. Plural cannibal is common. Plural uncountable no existe. Yeah, countable, uncountable nouns are always singular. Always, always. Uncountable nouns are singular. What else in this case? Yeah, so much, so many, so few, so little. Okay, yep, especially in American English. And what else? Guys, any questions about the use of, in this case, comparatives of quality, or the use of so and such in this case? Questions about this? Not a big deal, right? En el chat se dice, nope. Very well. Now, if you want to practice with this, your campus in this case is full of exercises in this case. Hold on. We got here, this one. Got a lot of practice here, guys. You can have a lot of fun clicking on these links. I don't know if this is fun for you, but anyway, that was sarcastic. Then we got then. Okay, here. Preposition of movement. Let me double check this stuff here. Movement prepositions, yeah, zero definite articles and collective nouns. It's 9:20, so I think we got time to review this stuff and then start unit 2. Movement prepositions, they are only used with, in this case, verbs of action or movement. For example, go, drive, run, fly, etc. Versus stative or static verbs like be, like, enjoy, prefer, need. They are different from movement verbs or action verbs, okay? And like, for example, the mouse is running into the box, or the mouse is going out of the box, right? Or coming out of the box. The cat is running or walking around the box. All the verbs I'm using, they denote movement, okay? So we got into, out of, around, away from, toward, past, onto, off, over, under, through, across, up, and down. So the point is that into is way different from in, right? Because in is a preposition of location for steady locations, steady locations. But into is, in this case, related to movement. That's the difference. So, for example, the frog is jumping onto the box, and the frog is jumping off the box in this case. All right. The snake in this case is sneaking under the wall, or, for example, crawling under the wall. The snake is crawling through the pipe, sorry, etc., etc. Right? Prepositions of movement. There are exercises on UCampus about that too. Then articles in this case, we got 0 articles, an, and the. Let me start with the exception to the rule in this case, which is the use of 0 articles. When we speak in general, plurals, I'm talking about plurals, we don't need articles. For example, coats are useful in winter. When I say coats are useful in winter, I'm talking about every coat around the world, all of them, right? I don't need, and I shouldn't say, the coats are useful, because when I say the coats, I'm talking about a very specific group of coats, all right? But I'm not talking about a specific group of coats. I'm talking about coats in general, right? It happens with every single plural noun. Cats are beautiful. Dogs are friendly. People are, I don't know, whatever you want. So we never ever say the, if we're talking about in general. When we talk about specific groups in that case, and when we know what we're talking about in specific, in this case, we say the, all right? Regarding plurals. Also, we don't need the with most countries. And also, we don't need the with proper names. Oh, y ahí viene la Renata. Ahí viene la Aixa. Ahí viene el Vicente. That's not possible in English. We never say, oh, the Nayaret is coming, or the Francisca is calling us, etc., etc. It's not possible in English. Never, ever, in any universe, in the multiverse, it's possible. Okay? So, proper names don't take the, all right? En español, todo lo que quieran, ¿ya? Pero no, not in English. Se ríen ahí. So Portugal is a nice country. Chile is a long country. Argentina is a beautiful country. Blah, blah, blah. We never say las Argentinas, ¿cierto? And stuff like that. All right, so unless, and this is an exception, the name of the country takes the. For example, the United States of America, the United Emirates, okay? The Russian Federation, for example, etc., etc., etc. In that case, if the country, if the proper name has the, you put it there. In capital letters, con mayúscula, of course. What else? Okay. Definite articles, the in this case, we use the with singular and plural nouns when we're talking about something for the second time. So we were talking about this stuff previously, so then we know what we're talking about. I bought a dress and a skirt, and then the second time, the dress was very expensive because you're talking about a very specific dress. Also, when there is only one of them, one existence in this case. For example, the sun is burning my skin, right? We got only one sun in our system, right? So it's the sun. The moon is the same thing, you know? When we talk about the moon, we're talking about our moon. Yeah, we're not talking about Europa or any other moon around the solar system, right? We're not talking about the moons of Jupiter. We're talking about the moon, which is our moon. It is clear what we're talking about from the situation. For example, pass me the salt, or pass me the beer, pass me the, in this case, the napkins. And expressions like play the piano, go to the doctor, go to the cinema in the south of Chile, etc., etc. You know, it's part of the expression. And finally, the use of an. I guess you know about this. I mean, the exceptions in this case, for example, a universe, a university, a uniform. In this case, we combine a plus, in this case, consonantic sound, right? This should be a plus consonant sound, and an plus consonant, in this case, no, sorry, an plus vowel sound, because this is related to the sound, not to the writing. Okay, we say a book, a pencil, and a ruler because we say a plus consonant sound. Because when we say a uniform, you, in this case, that you is a vowel, but the sound is consonantic. So that's why a plus, in this case, a universe, a uniform, breaks the rules in this case, but it's because the rule is, the real rule is a plus consonant sound and an plus vowel sound. All right. For example, an umbrella an apple, an ice cream, an hour. An hour. H is a consonant, right? But we say an hour, an honest person, because H is mute. It's muted in this case. So exceptions to the rule in this case. Any questions about articles in this case? No big deal. La Francisca dice, nope. Nope. All right. Good job, guys. And finally, I guess, oh, here. Collective nouns quickly. It's 9:31. Con esto lo voy a hacer very short. Well, collective nouns in this case are nouns that pretty much talk about groups of people, animals, and things. We talk about, for example, a band of men. So like boy bands, like BTS and stuff like that. And normally they make one unity. Maybe there are a lot of people, like one country, like a country. I live in a country called Chile, but this country has 18 million inhabitants, right? But it's like a unity, okay? A cast of actors, a stack of librarians, centers of judges, a galaxy of beauties, a bevy of girls, a choir of singers, a hag of smokers. With animals, a colony of gulls, a brood of hens, a flight of birds, flock of turkeys, group of Guinea pigs, a litter of cubs, a kennel of dogs, a sloth of birds, right? And with things, batch of cakes, bottle of milk, but these are pretty much containers anyway. Bottle of milk, a bowl of rice, a box of cereal, a can of soda, a carton of milk, and a cup of tea, right? And well, there are many collective nouns. We're not gonna deal with all of them, but the concept is, you know, a group of something is expressed through collective nouns. All right. And that's it. So next class, which is tomorrow, we are going to deal with a unit number 2, society and media. We're going to start talking about foreign against essays, newspaper and television, and imperatives. Okay. Any questions, any comments? Antes de cerrar la sesión, les comento que ayer anduve por el PEDA. El PEDA es muy bonito. Les mandé una fotito, tengo más fotitos, se las voy a ir mandando para motivarles, si alguien quiere ir en algún momento. Pero siempre recuerden que para ir hay que llenar el formulario, ¿cierto? Hay que llenar el formulario que les envía el grupo de WhatsApp. Y tienen que mandarme, digamos, con 48 horas de anticipación, mandarme, profe, yo con tal persona, nombre completo, Ruth. Entonces yo con eso lleno la planilla y la mando, digamos, con antelación. Hoy tengo que mandar la planilla, digamos, antes de las 6 de la tarde, tengo que mandar la planilla para el viernes. Que si alguien se anima a ir el viernes, yo ya tengo 2 personas que van a ir el viernes. Yo voy a estar el viernes desde las 12 hasta las 5. Entonces, nos coordinamos nomás. O sea, ustedes me dicen, profe, estamos acá afuera, no sé. Ya, porque en la entrada les van a medir, tomar temperatura, les van a pedir el carnet, les van a pedir el pase de movilidad y van a revisar en la carpeta si es que está la planilla. Ya, cualquier cosa me llaman, porque ayer tuve que llamar a Cristian Sánchez porque no estaba mi nombre en la planilla. Entonces, y yo les mandé, me dije, no, si aquí está el correo, me sigue la mandé y todo el tema. Entonces me fue a buscar el Cristian, si no, si él mandó, yo no la mandé, lo siento, y ahí entré, ¿ya? Cualquier cosa me avisan si es que van mañana. O sea, perdón, el viernes. Y qué más, eso, acuérdense, si quieren ir el viernes, lleven su mascarilla, lleven el alcohol gel, ¿cierto? Todo el tema, lleven su carnet. Y eso, por último, si quieren conocer el campus, sí, ese es el tema, o sea, por último, conozcan dónde diablos están estudiando. Digo yo, no sé, si quieren. Entonces, Eso, los horarios van a cambiar más adelante porque Cristian Sánchez me comentó de que el ministerio está como urgiendo la vuelta a clase, porque como ya van a levantar la cuarentena, o sea, perdón, la cuarentena, los curfews, los toques de queda, ya, esto dura hasta el estado de excepción constitucional, dura hasta el último día de septiembre, que es hasta mañana. Ya después el Congreso no va a extender el estado de emergencia, no hay más toques de queda y lo más probable es que también ya salgamos en este caso, de la fase 4, ¿ya? Obviamente la Isquia Siches decía que había que tener un plan de contingencia en caso de ella, y estoy totalmente de acuerdo con ella, pero eso es a título personal nomás, pero básicamente se van a levantar las restricciones, ¿ya? La universidad va a seguir, digamos, cuidándose todo el año. Ya se puede ir, pero los aforos van a seguir, sí, digamos, y el tema de la mascarilla y los manos, todo eso va a seguir. ¿Ya? Eh, lo más probable es que otras instituciones abran totalmente las puertas, pero también sigan pidiendo mascarilla y sigan utilizando, digamos, las medidas sanitarias, pero se va a abrir, esta cuestión se va a abrir así, pero totalmente, ¿ya? Así que prepárense, get ready, guys, ¿ok? Eso, pues, chiques, thank you very much, have a great day, y recuerden, si quieren ir el viernes, mándenme, digamos, sus datos para yo mandar la planilla hoy día y llenen el formulario de Google Forms, que es otra cosa, que es el link, ¿ya? Eso, dice la Ñeres, dice, qué miedo. Está bien, está bien. Thank you, bye bye, chao, bye bye, cuídese. Gracias, profe, nos vemos. Bye.